Welcome into Phil's Tax Hacks and Other Retirement Facts with CPA and personal financial specialist Phil Putney. Now let's get rolling with today's show. Welcome into another edition of Phil's Tax Hacks and Other Retirement Facts. Mark and Phil back again to talk about investing, finance, and retirement. And Phil, we're going to talk about this, I believe it's CNBC article on 35% of millionaires say it's going to take a miracle to make it to retirement. So that should be interesting to talk about. Americans are feeling less confident in their ability to get to retirement on that cool number of $1 million. So that's the topic. What's going on, my friend? How are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
Yeah.
Getting ready for the holidays here. So made it through the first one.
Right.
I shouldn't say that. Shouldn't say that. We made it through. It was great. We had a good time.
True. That's true.
Everyone came to our house. So it was a busy house, but it was fun.
Oh, that's right. You had like 14 million people, didn't you?
Yeah, it was like 27. So
yeah,
a little bit busy. That's okay.
A little bit. Yeah.
Send the kids downstairs. Kids and grands are downstairs. So
you still have your hair and
the craziness is there.
You didn't have to pull all your hair out, so that's good.
Nope.
No Chevy Chase moments, right?
That's right.
Cat didn't eat
no Chevy Chase Christmas
tree or anything. No Uncle Eddie's. So $1 million, man. I like it. I think a lot of people like it. Yeah. But again, we'll put a link to this in the show note descriptions as well, folks. But fewer Americans feel confident about their ability to retire, to make it to retirement, through retirement security, amidst obviously the high inflation and the market volatility issues that we're dealing with. Yeah. Even millionaires saying that they don't think it'll cut it. So what's going on here? $1 million ain't what it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think coming off this great market run, everyone had built that confidence thinking, oh, this is great. We can do this on $1 million. It'll all work. And then the reality of markets set in and inflation. I mean, it's a combination of kind of a 1-2 punch, really. We get too comfortable with pretty low inflation, for a long period of time, and markets doing well, everything was great, and then reality sets in. So yeah, it's really, I think that the two of those together is what's causing a lot of the Americans, at least from the survey, to reevaluate this and say, oh, wait, it's not going to work. Yeah. So
it's funny that this was the topic today. I don't know why. I don't know what made me do it, but the other day or two ago, I went looking at the, I think it was published back in March or April of 22, but it was the billionaires list. Yeah. And it was like 2,000, they had 2,000 billionaires. Yeah. Which kind of, first of all, I was like, wow, I didn't think there was going to be that many on the list. Yeah. But anyway, there was a lot of billionaires. But there's just more than we realized. So this was interesting. It's like there are more millionaires in the U.S. and globally than ever before, with nearly 24.5 million millionaires.
Yeah.
So, that's a lot, And
I mean, coming out of the downturn of the pandemic, and I mean, all the stimulus into the market, and the economy just grew significantly over the last, 2.5 years. So even among higher net worth individuals, 58% say they accept and they would have to possibly keep working. And then 36% say worry that might not even be an option according to this latest data. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what are we kind of left to think about here? So like, okay, if because the $1 million, we've talked about it before, like why fixate on a number that may or may not get you where you want to be? And to me, that's the whole challenge of the entire article is that it's that fixation of, what's your number? There was a whole campaign on that for years, by one of the big companies out there. What's your number? And at the end of the day, it's different for everyone. I mean, I have clients often come in and say, well, after we go through stuff, prospective clients, what do you think? Am I in a good position? And I'm like, I have no idea. We haven't gotten that far down the road to see, what do you need? I mean, that's the first question you have to ask is, what does retirement look like to you? How much do you need a month, or however you want to look at it? What other income sources do you have? You know, and I mean, if you need $100,000 a year and you have, both you and your spouse are maxing out the top Social Security and you have a pension, so you've got 80,000, 85,000 between the two of those, and you only need 15, 20 grand a year. Yeah, $1 million, that's going to be more than enough, Right, exactly. But if you don't have a pension, and you still need 100, even if you maxed out Social Security, well, now it's a different story. Maybe it's not enough. So
and is the
everyone's
house
scenario is
paid off?
different.
Yeah. I mean, is the house paid off? What's your lifestyle,
Yep.
Choices,
Yeah,
I
there's
suppose, right?
so many factors that go into that question. It's not the number,
Well, they're calling for 1.2 or 1.25, which is about a 20% jump.
Yep.
So in what you do on the regular, I mean, have you just in general, is a 20% jump kind of a fair number, you think?
No, because again, if you have a plan in place, I mean, what we're going through is not new, right? It shouldn't be unexpected. Number one.
That's debatable, I suppose, from your viewpoint.
Well, I mean,
inflation happens, right? I mean,
inflation happens. Markets go through volatility. This isn't anything new. It's to the extent it's happened and kind of the collision of the two of them at once is somewhat new. I mean, that is the perfect storm, so to speak.
Right. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, these are going to happen. You have to build this into your plan, right? So that you can work through this. I mean, it's a matter of life. I mean, typical retirees, 20, 30-year retirement, chances are you're going to see probably one longer term inflationary cycle like this, because they take a long period of time. It's not like market volatility. Unfortunately,
30-year retirement, right? There's a good chance that you were going to bump into something like this.
Right. Market volatility, on the other hand, that bull and bear market cycle, I mean, the average somewhere in that 10-year time frame, you're going to see 2 to 3 of them, maybe more, maybe less in a retirement. So, I mean, it's one of those things that, like I said, I think we all got too comfortable with things just going really well.
For 10, 12 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we had the pandemic. That was, no one knew what was going on, but we, came out of that like a rocket.
Right.
Because of all the stimulus and the, everything that happened in the economy. So, we just got way too comfortable.
Well, this cycle that we're on it's going to take probably a little longer and we're going to do next week's show actually. So check that one out, folks. Coming up next week, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. But we're going to talk about some early predictions for 2023 by some of the big talking heads, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well, because it seems as though it's going to take a little more time to kind of dig out of all of this, and a lot of it is due to the lockdowns and the supply shortages and the workers not working. So I mean, it is going to take a little. Yeah, it's taking a little time to dig out of this. So sometimes when you get these articles, they have to, first of all, they have to have information and things to talk about and write about and say.
Right.
But there could be like little nuggets in here that are worth at least paying attention to. Our 401ks are down, 23% at the time of this writing. This author's talking about here.
Yep.
From a year ago. I mean, that's substantial. It could be, a good chunk of money for people. 23%.
First of all, a written financial income plan, understanding how much do I need, where's it going to come from, shouldn't be based on what your account value is. Because unless you want to have this up and down, my account's down 20% this year. Do I take a 20% pay cut? In retirement, is that what retirement looks like to you, or you want it to look like, or
to me, this article also kind of comes back, Phil, to what we've been saying for at least a good half of the year or more, is that if you were happy in 21 and you didn't, your advisor wasn't talking to you, or you weren't, didn't have your kind of ear to the ground, so to speak, and hadn't done any reallocation and change things, and you started getting burned by the same allocation, that's part of the problem. That's why you've got to talk with someone and work with somebody, because it's a stark reminder of 21 into 22 how a year can change. 21, what was it, 30% up roughly, 27, something like that.
Yeah, and we're bouncing off this huge bottom in 20 of
right.
Yeah,
so I mean, it can happen like that, unfortunately. So
yeah, and I mean, we've been talking about it for years, but I mean, it's been coming, right? I mean, most financial advisors, it's been the sky is falling. You felt like a broken record of it's coming. Don't we're way overheated. It's a matter of time. It's and it's just reality. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
The pandemic and everything that was around that is really what.
It's like gas. It was just tossing gas on it.
And threw this whole thing sideways, because it did totally. We had the big drop. Technically a bear market at that point, but I mean, you bounced off it so quick. You were in and out of a bear market that,
Yeah.
A technical bear market, but not a real bear market. I mean, just with the stimulus and everything that happened to pull it out of it, which, it's arguments both, back and forth on that, pros and cons to it. If they hadn't have done it, what would it have looked like, but yet they did it. So we came out of it just like, to your point, gas in a fire. I mean, boom, just flying on it like a rocket. That's what led to the huge increase that we saw in prior years. Now we're paying for it to some extent from that, and just the markets are overdue. It's what they do.
And that's the thing, right? They were overdoing it. I think anybody who's, ever, I don't know, burned fall leaves in their yard, right? You kind of know, like, you had enough stuff there to get it started, to get that kind of fire started. And it just, it didn't go the rate you wanted it to. So you put a little something on it and
all of a sudden, and
then it was a little bit more than you anticipated. I think
now you don't have any eyebrows because they got singed right off. So.
Exactly. There was tons of indicators that we were coming up on problems anyway. We were definitely oversaturated, definitely overdue, overweighted,
right?
And a lot of stuff like that. So, but then now you add in the things they weren't kind of counting on, right? Was the inflation, and then they weren't kind of counting on the Fed having to take the rates up, which then is going to cause, the stock or the bond market's not, so.
So, I mean, you didn't have that security blanket of the bond markets like we've had in the past. So, I mean, it definitely has been a perfect storm, but absolutely. To me, I guess the biggest takeaway I get out of the article is, if you're winging it for sure, you're probably
not a good idea.
Panicking, wondering what in the world's going on.
You may need more,
20% more, and you might to that point. You might need more.
Then you make this move, which affects that, You pull one lever, and it affects three more, and maybe it was the wrong lever to pull. I mean, we've had discussions with several clients of we in the plan originally delaying Social Security. Okay.
And they're questioning, well, should we take it now? I mean, do we really want to wait? And we've run the math on it again. And, a couple of clients, it has made sense that maybe they were close to that age, but again, to me, it's all of this is make the decision based on your scenario specifically, have a plan, run the math behind it. Don't just panic of, market's down. I got to file for Social Security now, or I got to do whatever it is that is not thought out fully, and you don't know the effect of not just today, but 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the road potentially, and what that looks like. Because every action has a reaction later. I mean, it's you do something today, it's going to change something in the future. You've got to understand that before you do it today.
Exactly. And that's where that retirement strategy is going to come into play, because, and again, it's easy to panic in all this stuff going on right now. We've been talking about that the last couple of weeks, but a lot of this, hopefully some of the stuff that you've got for your portfolio is also future money, because, again, God willing, you're going to be retired for 20 or 25 years. So, I don't get,
and that's how we approach it. We've got that bucket, we've talked about it many times, but I mean, that is, for this kind of a scenario, is doing exactly what we want it to do. The later money, we expect more volatility. Clients know that it's going to happen. You need it for growth. That's just what happens. Now, to some extent, have some hedges against it, but as long as you're not pulling from that money, then you don't have the concern of the sequence of returns. You're not pulling out of an account as it's losing value. The soon bucket that you're spending from, that should be a whole different strategy. You can't look at, here's my 401k, my retirement funds as one, like we've been used to all our lives. When you're saving, it's one account, you put an allocation on it, you just put it away and keep your head down and go. Retirement's totally different game.
That sequence of returns is incredibly important.
It is, absolutely. And a lot of people are realizing that this year. So
at the end of the day, $1 million, $1.2 million, fixate on the number. I don't know. Probably not.
The number's the number. It's going to be different. They talk about, these millionaires, and they're thinking, I might never be able to retire now. Well, maybe not. What's their lifestyle?
Exactly.
And if they've got an extremely high lifestyle and all their portfolio is invested in FTX, or Bitcoin. I mean, some, crazy, risky thing, and they've lost half or more of it. I mean, you might have to work the rest of your life.
And here's a novel idea. Go find out if it's enough, right? Go find out if what you have is enough. Because Phil, what you have might be enough for you, and what I have might be enough for me, but it may not be for the next person. So just go find out.
Don't make decisions based on the article, or even your neighbor, you're having some drinks and talking to them and, finding out, how much do you have? And you're getting through that discussion. Well, I don't have what they have. Well, your scenario is probably different than theirs. It's,
well, and if nothing else,
you can't make that judgment that way. Everyone's different.
If nothing else, use that as fuel to go find out, right?
Right.
I don't have what my neighbor has, and I don't know if I'm going to be okay. Well, okay, use that as, again, fuel, and just go in and say, you know what, it's time to sit down with a professional and find out, do we have enough? Because to your point earlier, and we'll wrap it up, but somebody with a pension and somebody without, totally different. Their numbers could be completely changed based on that. So, there's tons of little factors.
There's all these different factors that play into it. It's
price of your house, the taxes you pay. Are you in the country? Are you in the city? Are you, how do you live? Do you go out to eat a lot? Do you not? Do you travel a lot?
What's your retirement look like? Travel, you have a lot of hobbies, golf.
And be honest, right? Because it's easy to go. We were joking, Phil. We'll wrap it up. My wife and I went to Aruba earlier this year, and we were like, "Oh, we should totally move there," right? And it's easy to do that when you go and you have a good time. But the reality is you're probably not. So just be honest with yourself and figure out what you truly need for where you live, and all those kind of part of that's getting our own plan together, our own goals and things, and then going and working with someone like yourself and saying, okay, now how much of this is doable within what we have, and how much do we need to kind of push for, and get realism in it, I guess.
Yep. Work off the numbers, have a plan that, and that's what I tell my clients all the time when we're developing it. My goal in that is never to say, here's the plan, I'm going to work all the numbers and give you the plan. It's to give them pros and cons on all the different decisions as they're going through Social Security, pensions, the options there, all the different factors that play into retirement. So then when you're making the decision, here's the pro, here's the con, you've made that informed decision, which now makes you more confident in it, hopefully.
Right.
Because you know what was put into that decision process. And it's not a set it and forget it. If you've done that a year, 2, 3, 5 years ago, don't just put it on a shelf and think, I did it, it's good. Yeah. You've got to look at it on a regular basis.
It's not a life insurance policy you bought 10 years ago. You threw it.
That's right. Yeah. Where are we at today? Maybe it does make sense. Maybe you need to tweak it. Life changes, things happen. So it should be an ongoing process to develop the plan and then work the plan. And that's the two things. I see a lot of people develop the plan and that was great. Put it on a shelf and there you go. They feel good, but they never did anything with it. Well, I didn't. It was a waste of time.
Well, there you go. That's the mantra for today. Develop the plan, work the plan, and have some realism in the plan about what you want for retirement. I think, and not every day is a Dolce and Gabbana ad or a Disney World ad, right? So have some realism in your planning, and you should be able to get through. But like I said, we'll link the article in there if folks want to check that out as well. But if you do need some help and you got some questions, folks, that's why we do the show. That's why Phil does what he does. Reach out to him. Find him online at philstaxhacks.com. That's philstaxhacks.com, or call him at 248-888-7530. It's 248-888-7530. Numbers on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to us on whatever podcasting platform app you like to use, or YouTube. And we'll see you next time here on Phil's Tax Hacks and Other Retirement Facts.
Investment advisory services offered through AFS Wealth Management. The content of this program is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. Investments and/or investment strategies involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. There is no assurance that any investment strategy will achieve its objectives.